So, half a decade later, Nolan hitting a career highlight since with Oppenheimer, how has Tenet aged? Still, my main issue is so often with the movie, there's a relentless audio assault combined with editing and storytelling elements intentionally chosen by Nolan to induce disorientation. He has his usual monologue dumps, but the dialogue is buried under the score and sound effects. Nolan was previously really good with at least explaining the setup of his movies to the audience, then leaving it up to everyone to kind of make sense out of that execution. He gave us the magic trick of his movies with The Prestige, The Pledge, which is something ordinary looking, The Turn, something ordinary becomes extraordinary, and then finally The Prestige, which tops that extraordinary and then just kind of reverses it. In Inception, Cobb is clearly Nolan's analog, explaining the setup to the audience proxy of Ariadne. He starts with the maze as the pledge, the turn is the mazes of the dream world, and then the prestige is just Inception. He tries to pull off the magic trick here differently by mixing up the phases and sometimes even running them concurrently. Here, the twist and final reveal is actually finding out the main character's motivation, i.e., the pledge. The turn is executing on those plans, and then the prestige is a time reversing gimmick. The special effects here are all dazzling, but it's just kind of Nolan showing you the prestige over and over again because it's cool, not because like seeing a reverse puddle or the inverted explosion actually means or says anything. Ultimately, I don't think the movie works because it lacks a main character with an emotional journey from the beginning that ropes you in. Memento, it was Lenny driven to find the killer of his wife. In Inception, it's Cobb getting back to his wife and family, etc. The main character here is such a non-persona. His name is literally the protagonist. And Denzel Washington's son, John David Washington, he really doesn't have his dad's charisma or presence. His performance is wooden, kind of oddly barren and forgettable. I remember watching it in the theater. It was so convoluted and indecipherable with the sound mix that during the 10, 15 minutes of the finale, everyone around me confusingly was asking each other questions about, like, what was that? Did you hear that? And then finally, really, there was just laughter throughout the theater as the reveals kind of came hot, heavy, like shotgun blasts to the face. And really, like Tenet, even today, it's still like if you had two TVs side by side, you're trying to watch Memento on one, Inception on the other at the same time, with the audio cranked all the way to an 11, but with the dialogue also like completely muffled. It's really Nolan kind of definitely firing on all cylinders to indulge in, some of his worst impulses as a filmmaker. Instead of using emotional character arcs to cover up his usual sleight of hand, Nolan uses sound and spectacle as a magic trick to distract us. But it really just winds up feeling like he's trying to guess our card by hurling entire decks of cards at us. But as always, that's just the scene from my lens. What's your take on it?